Hello, second YouTube channel, KarQ Archives. Yes, my main channel already covered the actual patch notes comparison, but on this channel, I'm gonna yap on my actual thoughts and give you a little more context on what I think and my opinion, if that even matters to you. So first of all, March 18, 2025 is today's day. We have the mid-season 15 patch. First thing they have here is Overwatch 2 and Le Seraphim. New set of skins they did huge marketing for. I saw like Aspen and Warren went to like Korea as well and they got to play with them. I'm just saying, I did it as well. 2.5 years ago, a year and a half ago at BlizzCon, I did get to play with Le Seraphim. Only downside is they didn't give us like the pictures we took. I was like, oh, I want to like take a picture of like, you know, of everybody. They're like, oh, we'll take pictures officially with the camera and we'll send it to you. And they never sent it to me. I'm kind of sad. Like I can ride that high till the, you know, till the day I die. I literally took a picture and Sakura was standing right here and I was right here. Like I could have made that my PFP. That's all I'm saying. Overwatch 2 Classic GOATS mode is coming March 25th. It's not actually right now, by the way. And then we have the new mythic weapon, Widowmaker's Dame Chance. And I think, I'm not French, is it Dame Chance? Bonjour, je m'appelle KarQ. Dame Chance. En français, je mange pomme de terre. Okay, tanks. All right, let's look at the patch now. Let me give you my actual thoughts here. Junker Queen's first perk is called Deep Wounds. They're extending the wound duration from 0.25 to 0.5 seconds. So every time you shoot somebody, it extends the wounds. Honestly, if you only shoot one time, the wound damage itself isn't actually that much, but it's mostly like a snowball thing. So like if you're a non-stop shooting and you don't have any, if you don't want to use any abilities in between, it's actually not that bad. The 0.25 second window was kind of short. So like the fact that this is like a double buff, right? Because you have a bigger window, 0.5 seconds to continue shooting to keep on extending it. But the window at 0.25 was very short that if you weren't holding the button down before, you wouldn't even have time to extend it. This is a pretty nice buff. I'll have to play it more in practice to kind of see how it plays compared to the other perk. Ramatra's perk, where the prolonged barrier actually gets bigger by 25%. If you actually look at it, it's very big. The shield is already kind of big and annoying itself, but I think it's bigger than Sigma's shield, or comparative to it now, which is kind of crazy. Assuming it wasn't fixed yet, Junker Queen's ammo. Oh, so I guess apparently, according to Patrick, they also nerfed Junker Queen's ammo from 8 to 6, but they didn't note that in the patch notes. All in all, I don't know if that's pretty bad because you have to reload more often, which means this in nature is less effective because you have to reload at a higher frequency, which kind of sucks, but that's an unwritten note. Don't know if that's official or they're going to revert it. We'll have to find out. This perk is pretty nice, big buff. Honestly, most of these perk buffs are just like ginormous power spikes. It's crazy because I think it's like 18 buffs to the perks and 2 nerfs, and they didn't touch some of the outliers, some of the ones that seem really strong, like Sojourns, Tracers, or the other Torb ones. Reinhardt, next perk. Passive regeneration trigger rate increased from 50% to 75%. That just means it's 75% faster to trigger. So if you put up your shield, your natural passive will kick in a little bit more often. I still think you take the other perk. I think it's the one with like the overhealth on the shield bump. I actually still haven't memorized what's a minor or major perk, but like I don't think this one is like that crazy. Maybe good if you like to you know, charge in and be on an off angle by yourself, sure. Shield slam, I think this one, sorry, this one might be the one that's in contest with the overhealth one on the charge. And I think that one was just way better than the shield bash, but lowering its cooldown by quite a bit makes it more of an appealing option. I do think if your shield bash was able to knock Rhines or Dooms or Briggs down on the ground as a counter charge mechanic, it would actually make this a lot better because you could do that, wake up and still have your like main charge. Because a lot of times as a Rhine player, you see their Rhine charging, you press your charge at the last second to bump into the ground, but you lose that cooldown. But if Shield Slam offers you the counter charge mechanic, I think you would actually have a lot more reasons to take that one. Hog Toss now increases the damage of Pigpen by 25%. So obviously it increases throw distance is the perk, but you also just take this for the base boost damage now. And I think this is actually not bad as well. It does like 240 damage now if they sit in the entire thing, which helps a lot. 25% is a lot, by the way, especially if they're hooked into it. So you don't take it for the throw distance. That's the bonus. Now the actual perk is just the power of it comes from the raw damage increase of Pigpen. Actually an underrated trap. If you put it in an area where 2 people are like walking over it in a choke, it is quite a bit of damage. This one might be the underrated one, just saying. Winston's Short Circuit. Damage versus deployable objects increased from 30% to 50%. So apparently when I uploaded this on my main channel, some of the comments were like, I didn't even know barriers or shields count as deployables. And yes, they do. That's enemy Winston barriers, Ramatra shields, Sig shield. When an enemy Rhine is holding up his shield, that is a deployable. So you can zap and pressure it a lot more, which gives you maybe more incentive to take this perk. Could be good to help destroy Torb turrets, instantly wipe Sim turrets, etc., etc. Wrecking Ball. Ally transfer cost reduction increased from 33% to 50%. So it just costs less to give. You don't have to give away as much of your overhealth when you're sending it off to your teammate to make this a little better. I still feel like a lot of Wrecking Balls are very aggressive and they don't know how to roll back and give shield health to their allies anyways, but you know, it's just nice to take, I guess, but I still think you take the other one, which is like either the boop damage or like the pile driver, right? So I don't know, this one doesn't feel like, if you're solo queue, I don't know. I feel like just it's such a defensive play where you have to roll back and maybe give some space away. I think the other one to stay offensive is probably a better game plan. Bastions. Self-repair now has a resource required to heal. I saw a viral clip on r/Overwatch where like this Bastion was just running around because there's no resource before. You just sit there zapping yourself like this and run around, 90 HP per second or something like that, right? So like a lot of heroes can't deal with that. Even though it now has a resource to heal, it's still technically better than it was in Overwatch 1. Because if I remember correctly, maybe I'm misremembering, so you correct me if I'm wrong. If you hold down the resource meter, it would just drain it completely. But I think if you are still at full health, if you have no HP to repair, it doesn't actually drain the resource. So you know what I mean? So Overwatch 1's repair was, you know, if I hold the button down for like 1 second, it would drain the bar to half. But if I'm sitting there as Bastion and I take a little bit of chip damage, I'll just consume like 10% of it to heal myself to full. But if I keep holding the button down while I'm at full HP, it won't drain it. So it's a lot more efficient. It's a lot better than how it used to be. So this is still a good perk despite having this nerf. Cassidy, I don't know why people would ever take past noon. Ultimate charge refund. I think this only refunds if it expires, not if you preemptively cancel it. I actually think if they gave past noon even refund to 50%, even if you cancel it, it's a glorified reload button. Then that one might be a bit more appealing. But besides that, I don't know why people would ever take this at this current time, unless I'm just stupid. Maybe like a really good zoning tool where you can hold high noon to the end. But like this perk just feels really bad overall. Just my take on this one. Genji, acrobatics, now also reads as double jump on wall climb. This is exactly how Genji was in early Overwatch 1, 2016, where if you did wall climb and you double jumped, you touch the wall, you get to reset your double jump. I think you could do it infinitely or maybe just one time in early Overwatch, but that was a really nice part of his gameplay flow back in the day. But I think acrobatics actually is pretty nice now with all these extra jumps. It allows you to double jump, do some tech with like, you know, wall climb, dash up, pull out your blades, still have another double jump. So just mobility goes up like crazy here. Meditation healing. This one's meh. Blade twisting. Duration after an elimination to trigger the bonus damage. So you have a 10-second window after you already kill one person to now deal some bonus damage. And it's dealt over a shorter period of time, so it's not healable. Like if it's too slow, like if it takes too long to distribute the damage over 2 seconds, it doesn't feel that strong. So this is a nice buff to it, but honestly, I've not touched Genji with the perks. I feel like he got played quite a bit actually in pro play in OWCS with perks, just simply because of this nature of the hero. But I do think this one would be the #1 pick. I have to see what this blade twisting is compared to, but it doesn't sound terrible if you're snowballing. But I feel like if you're already snowballing, getting resets, you maybe don't even need this because you're already killing them. But maybe I'm wrong. May, permafrost no longer increases the cooldown of ice wall. So permafrost, the perk, made the wall stay up 2 seconds longer, but they nerfed the cooldown to be 2 seconds longer while the duration of it went up 2 seconds. So it stays up longer, and when it finally goes down, it takes 2 extra seconds to come off cooldown. So they just removed that to make it like a better perk. But I still think I like the other one where you do the AoE damage on cryo freeze. Helix shields, converted shields increased from 75 to 125. So apparently Pharah's been a little underpowered with her perk, so they gave her 50 more, not 50 more HP in total, but just like, you know how she has 225 HP, all white HP, now 125 of it is now blue regenerative shield, so she may not have to depend too much on a pocket. It's still nice to have a pocket. I probably wouldn't play Pharah without a mercy pocket or some sort of like Zen healing or a brig pack, but like the option is there if you need to like hide into cover and start regenning a little bit. Okay, for Reaper, what do we have here? Recovery time will allow Reaper to weave in a primary fire shot between the uses of dire triggers, with the recovery time being reduced from 0.9 to 0.7 seconds. I've yapped about this before, and Overwatch has used this forever, but like, I don't like the term recovery time to like signify attack speed. I think attack speed is a lot more intuitive as a casual person. If I'm a casual gamer and I read this patch notes, recovery time reduced doesn't mean anything to me and to most people, right? It's just the time in between each shots. But I think going in the reverse, saying attack speed, attacking 1.3 times per second feels easier to understand than saying it takes 0.7 seconds between shots, aka your recovery time. Yeah, it's exactly right. But then I guess attack speed wouldn't be used for a one shot. I mean, I get that as well. Like, I just wish there was a better way to explain it and put it in a term that is easier to consume for like, a global audience. But anyways, I digress. Let's move on. Soldier 76, this one's kind of crazy. Stim pack, cast time reduced from 0.4 to 0.15 seconds. Quicker to stab yourself, and now anti-heal is now cleansable. Some people are arguing that he doesn't need the anti-heal effect, but like you need the trade-off because this is kind of cracked. If every time you press this button, you just get giga attack speed. So that if you want to run a play with Stim pack, you have to either force your Curie to cleanse you, or your Zarya to bubble you, or your Life Weaver to grip you, I guess, which is now another option. But yeah, Stim pack, there it is. Sombra. Okay, this perk actually seems kind of cracked now, by the way. Stack Overflow. The range penalty is reduced from 30% to 15%. But what Stack Overflow does is increases the hack time to like 2 seconds, right? 15% of a range isn't that big of a penalty. Before, you had to be up in their face to do it for the cost, and it wasn't worth it. But this one actually seems a lot better. This one might be underrated. At least White Hat, the other perk now, is now uninterruptible from damage when you do the Healing Allies version. That's kind of nice. It was kind of annoying where you want to heal your teammate with the perk and then somebody tickles you with some damage and you get it canceled. That's annoying. Yeah, I think this one might be better now. I'll have to see it in person still. Okay, Torb actually getting a nerf outside of his perk where his deploy turret is going down by 25 HP. The damage itself is going down a little bit. But if you take the Craftsman perk, I think that's the one that sticks to walls, right? The actual turret goes back up by 25 HP to make up for it. And the turret damage going down is to compensate for the fact that if you do the one that you throw up onto the wall and stuff and it shoots from the side, at least it's not so annoying that it does, you know, 1 extra bullet damage per thing. And then if you press overload, it all kind of like compounds with each other. But I think this is a fine nerf for him. Now, what's interesting is like instead of nerfing the outlier perks, they buff the weak ones. That was the approach with the perks here. They decided to opt power creeping weak perks and not nerfing powerful perks. So if you buff all the weak ones, it kind of puts it more in line with the powerful ones. So the baseline is just higher. So if like you have your power level of perks here, the curve, instead of like it being top loaded with a shit ton of weak perks, they just like shifted the power over so there's less weak ones instead of like pushing the power back the other way. I feel like no one's gonna pick this one over refunding all 3 blinks. That's your comparison. Quantum Entanglement over health duration increased from 3.5 to 6 seconds. So yeah, you get 225 over health, but like instead of 175 HP when you recall, just for a little bit longer period of time, but like so what? I think getting all your blinks back is just too strong. So anyways, if people see Tracer and buff, they'd be like, oh, but this perk is still kind of like, I don't know why you would take this. Maybe in some very, very specific scenarios where like a Junkrat trap is ready for you and stuff like that. But anyways, okay, Baptiste, automated healing. Healing per shot increased from 25 to 30. That's the one with his ultimate, right? Where you press your ult, your window, and it just automatically heals for you. I still don't think this one is that good simply because I think your other option was the Exo Boots one, right? And I do think when you have your window up and you shoot one time with the heal, it's already like more than enough. And if you have optimal like healing, shooting, I feel like it's more than enough, and it just feels kind of like wasted value compared to the other one. But like there are some cases where maybe you need it. But next one, Assault Burst. Attack speed going up may give you a little bit more of an option. Oh, Assault Burst is the one where the jump is the other one. I mean, getting 30% attack speed at the cost of losing your regen. If you're a DPS BAP, like if I'm unranked GM sitting in a silver lobby, then I'll take it. Also, I don't do that kind of content. I'm just saying, hypothetically speaking, full DPS Baptiste. But a lot of cases, the regen burst, getting the instant healing is really nice for your team. So I don't know. Oh, it's healing turret versus the lamp healing when breaking. Oh, is the comparison with the other perk. I still like the lamp healing after breaking because a lot of times a lamp power, like when you lamp somebody and save them, they all end off at a very low HP, and the fact that they get a little bit of healing at the end and make sure they stay alive feels better than just 5 extra healing by its like per shot during your ultimate. I'd rather just keep them alive during your lamp. I'll end up using the lamp many more times before I even use my ultimate for just 5 extra healing, you know what I mean? A chance to make sure they live just seems better value overall. No Ana nerfs, by the way. I think Ana's perks are like really fucking good, and they haven't touched it. And like I said, they didn't touch any of the strong perks, which I think, I mean, I don't really disagree with the direction, but I'm interested in seeing that this is their approach and they're committing to it. They're like, you know what? We're going to keep the powerful shit powerful. If you're going to keep it powerful, shouldn't you like put the other stuff in line with it? Like, it still feels like these perks are nothing compared to what Ana can do for example. Brig. This one's really nice, actually. After shield bashing, gain 30% movement speed for 1.5 seconds. So instead of like actually using it offensively, if you ever just like shield bash now, you just get movement speed to maneuver around the map. This actually is really, really nice. This is a really good one. The bash, to intentionally bash to regen your shield, where if you had good shield management, didn't mean anything. But this one, because a lot of Brigs will actually like maneuver around the map, and getting extra movement speed can actually, I don't really know the specific maps, but there's probably some areas that you couldn't get to before with the bash, and now you can. That's good. Illari, a general buff outside of her actual perk, where weapon recharging is no longer paused when using quick melee. So when you primary fire, you have to recharge the juice. A lot of times when you're up close to someone's face, you primary fire and then you melee right afterwards. And the fact that it doesn't affect the regeneration of the damage or the buildup anymore means you can shoot, melee, and then shoot again for almost full damage. So it's really, really good. Summer Solstice is the actual perk where you get more attack speed while Captive Sun is active in the air too. And that's solid. 30% attack speed also means that you regen a little bit faster, right, with the damage. So yeah, there you go. Juno reboots now increases the duration of glide boost. This is the one where like you get the double jump, right? Twice? Or is this the one where oh no, this is the one where if you go through your ring, you get a little boost of speed, I think. Or is this the double jump? I don't remember. This is bad. If I ever do like an ability icons quiz for myself, like I'm gonna fail it because this is a lot to learn. Oh, it's an extra jump. Anyways, increasing the glide boost duration for a little bit longer, which means you're a little bit faster for a little longer. I like that. That's a good one. Okay, this one's interesting for Lifeweaver, Super Bloom. The damage, everybody will see damage increasing from 30 to 40, but the number of hits to trigger it will be increased from 16 to 20, but your window of time to land the hits will have a bigger window. So if you don't hit all your shots, like, and they like dodge it for a second, but they get tagged again, as long as it's within the 2.5 second window, it'll still continue to build up for Super Bloom. So this is objectively a buff overall, but it's not as big as you think, because if you do the side by side, even though the damage went up, because you need 4 more thorns to trigger, the perfect side-by-side actually shows if everything lands that they still explode at the same time, and it still does the same damage. It's just easier to get to the damage because of the bigger window. That's the actual bigger buff here. This is the biggest buff. These two sort of cancel each other out, if that makes sense. Sort of, but not really. Life Weaving, bonus to Healing Blossom heal increase from 20 to 30. So this is after you dash, you get, instead of 80 healing, it goes to 110 instead of 100 for the next heal. I don't really like this one that much, so I haven't really taken this one. Final one was Mercy, flash heal, cast time reduced. Why was it 0.875 seconds? That's such a strange number. Down to 0.4 seconds. So situationally, I think a lot of Mercy players didn't take flash heal because you do lose your res. I mean, emergency situations to quickly heal somebody where you may not need it. What's the other perk? 0.875 is 7 out of 8. Why that number? Why not just go like 0.8 seconds beforehand? Is it just specifically a coding integer or something? That's it for the patch. My thoughts on this are, again, the philosophy of buffing weak stuff to push the power level up is fine. There's still some very, very big outliers, and I think Ana is the biggest culprit. I just think the swing that you get from a double nano where 2 out of your 5 players are just boosted with double like tankiness, effectively 50% more damage reduction, 50% more damage, seems way more powerful than anything else. Anyways, that's the patch. Let me know what you guys think on this patch. Goodbye.